near villages. There's no villages like Bainbridge. There's no villages like Green or New Berlin or whatnot, or much less Cooperstown. And if there was, it'd be like a county seat. And I don't get a little technical, but then the highway would typically go around or go bypass the main part of the county square. So we tried to illustrate that in that show about what it would be like, to give some people a sense of what a frac truck convoy would be like coming through their town. I mean, you'd have to see it. You'd have to see it in a mature region like the Barnett to get an appreciation of how many trucks there would be incessantly over a major route. I mean, people go down to Dimmock and stuff. That's like kid stuff in terms of the number of wells. That's just like for openers. You've seen this stuff. This is something that pertains to this town. Is that, and I'm going to repeat this, but the DEC requires you to put one gas separating unit on each well site, and of course, if you got a gathering system, which is what that thing is, it's not a transmission line. They want people to think it's a transmission line. This is a gathering system. Is that you're going to have compressor stations. You'll have gas separating uses at the well site. You have compressor stations. Those things are permanent, and the problem with those is that they vent what they can't use. If they can't, in the separators, they'll take out the propane, the butane, the ethane, whatnot. But the stuff they can't use, like the radon or maybe even the ethane, they might just vent. And that creates serious air problems, and that's in fact what the problem is in Texas, other than the trucks, is the air pollution is just mind-boggling. And just about every part of this activity creates ozone. Now, we had a friend that, in fact, a kid that lived next to us on the ranch that was on that rig. Kid survived. But the reason I put that up there is is that the problem in this state, and the same as in Pennsylvania, is that the permitting agency, the people that issued the permit for that well, is the same. Well, in that case, there was no environmental oversight because there was no EPA oversight. But in New York, the permitting agent is the same as the environmental protection agent. And you think, well, that's the way it should be, but that's not the way it is out west. There's two. In most states, there's an environmental agency, and then there's a mineral agency, and they're separate. And so there is some oversight, but from the environmental agency that's obviously separate from the permitting agency, because it's axiomatic that the permitting agency is going to get, what's a polite term, compromised. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. And I think, in fact, in New York, it's evident that they already have become compromised. That blew at about 8,000 psi. Halliburton did that surface casing. And so basically that thing blew at less than what's the pressure that you might see in a Marcellus. Now, I put that Piper Alpha down there because the Piper Alpha blew in the North Sea, I think in '76, killed 167 guys. And what the Brits did at the time was they split their permitting agency, the minerals agency, from their environmental. So the long story short is that that well couldn't have gotten permitted in the North Sea by the Brits, certainly maybe the Norwegians, because it wouldn't have passed an environmental test. I mean, they could get the mineral rights or the mineral lease, but it wouldn't have. If there had been EPA oversight, a separate permitting agency, it may not have gotten drilled. For obvious reasons.